Hello, my name is Luis Fernando Lugo, and I'm going to talk about the acronyms and the importance of English for seafarers. In maritime language, a large number of acronyms are used to designate various meanings or information in an abbreviated way, which facilitates communication from the negotiation of a purchase-sale project, the quote of a sea freight, to the tracking a shipment and reading shipping documents. A multitude of acronyms comes into play. English is the most common foreign language in the world, where relationships in any field are increasingly globalized. It's essential to speak English in order to get in touch globally. English allowed us to communicate with people from all countries in the world, as it's considered the universal language.
Hello everyone! I'm going to tell you about the equipment that is used on board ships. They are essential for seafarers to be able to navigate properly. These are gyrocompass, radar, magnetic compass, ARPA, autopilot. There are a lot, but I will explain some of them. For example, an ARPA is a marine radar. The system can track an object knowing if there is a danger of collision with another ship. The other one, say, GPS, is the global position system. GPS provides the fastest and most accurate method for mariners to navigate and determine their location. A radar is an instrument that can detect surrounding objects using radio waves. Thus, in the maritime world, objects such as ships can be detected by radars. Thanks for watching and have a good day.
Okay, I'm going to talk about the international convention related to maritime field. For begin this, let's start with the IMO. The IMO stands for International Maritime Organization, an organization developed by the United Nations. This organization was created in 1948, but till 1982 was known as the Intergovernmental Maritime Consultative Organization, the OMCI. So this organization got just a consultative status till 1982. The IMO headquarters are located in London, United Kingdom, and currently has 174 members and 3 associate members. The IMO primary purpose is to develop and maintain a comprehensive regulatory framework from shipping, and its remit today includes maritime safety, environmental concern, legal matters, technical cooperation, maritime security, and the efficiency of shipping. Okay, let's go ahead with the MARPOL now. MARPOL stands for Prevention of Pollution from Ships, developed by the International Maritime Organization. This agreement was originally developed and ready to be put into use in 1973, since it was approved on that day, but actually it never came into use, or at least not until 1983. In this day, this agreement was put into practice. What MARPOL looks for? MARPOL looks for setting rules that have the main objective of the protection of maritime ecology, as preserving the seas and oceans, seeking to reduce until the elimination of hydrocarbon pollution, as well as any other substance that may be harmful. Okay, let's keep going with the STCW. STCW stands for Standard of Training, Certification and Watchkeeping for Sea Safer. this convention sets a minimum qualification standard for masters, officers, and watch personnel on sea and going merchant ships and large yachts. The STCW was adopted in 1978 by conference at the International Maritime Organization in London and entered into force in 1984. In 1978, the STCW Convention was the first to establish the minimum basic requirements on training, certification, and watchkeeping for sea safer on an international level. Previously, the minimum standard of training, certification, and watchkeeping of officers and ratings were established by individual governments, usually without reference to practice in other countries. As a result, minimum standard and procedures varied widely, even though shipping is extremely international by nature. Now let's go ahead with the SOLAS. SOLAS stands for Safety of Life at Sea. SOLAS is an international maritime treaty which sets the minimum safety standard in the construction, equipment, and operation of merchant ships. This convention requires signatory flag states to ensure that ships flagged by them comply with at least these standards. Okay, the current version of SOLAS is the SOLAS 1974, but actually this came into force on 25 May of 1980. Nevertheless, SOLAS was born because of the Titanic tragedy. This regrettable event created a before and after in the maritime field due to the hard regulation for preserving life at sea. The COLREG. The COLREG stands for Regulation for Preventing Collision at Sea. This convention is published by the International Maritime Organization and set out, among other things, the rules of the road, or the navigation rules to be followed by ships and other vessels at sea to prevent any accident or collision between two or more vessels. COLREG can also refer to the specific political line that divides inland waterways, which are subject to their own navigation rules, and coastal waterways, which are subject to the international navigation rules too. Finally, we got the ISPS. ISPS stands for International Ship and Port Facility Security Code. This code is an amendment to the Safety of Life at Sea. I'm talking about the SOLAS Convention, 1974-1988. This regarding to maritime security, including the minimum security arrangement for ships, ports, and government and agencies. But this convention, having come into force in 2004, and it prescribed the responsibilities to governments, shipping companies, shipboard personnel, and port facility personnel to detect security threats and take preventive measures against the security incidents affecting ship or port facilities used in international trades. This code was developed in response to the perceived threats to ships and port facilities in the wake of 9/11 attacks in the United States.
An important security filing, ISF, also known as Templates 2, is a filing required by the CBP or Customs Border Patrol that documents important information and details. As shipments pass from point to point, importers who do not file the ISS properly prior to the shipment of their goods will be penalized. The ISS must be transmitted at least 24 hours prior to an ocean shipment departure to the United States. The ISS regulation is relatively new. It exists as a result of the 9/11. It was published in November 28 and went into effect in January 29 with a phase-in approach to implementation. As of June 2016, ISS compliance is in full effect. ETD, or estimated time of departure. It is the time that the ship, her cargo, and the crew is expected to leave the port where she is loading or unloading cargo, or the location where she is moored. ETA, estimated time of arrival, it is the time that the ship, her cargo, and the crew is expected to arrive to the port where she is going to berth. ETD and ETA depend on factors such as the ship's schedule, stock for bunkering and maintenance, and also depend on known conditions at the various ports, at origin and route, such as labor problems, berthing congestion, etc. UTC is the time standard commonly used across the world. The World Timing Center have agreed keep their time scale closely synchronized or coordinated, therefore the name Coordinated Universal Time. Two components are used to determine UTC, International Atomic Time or TAI, and time scale that combines the output of some 400 highly precise atomic clocks worldwide and provides the exact speed for our clock to tick. Universal Time or UT, also known as astronomical time or solar time, is referred to the Earth rotation. It is used compared to peaks provided by TAA with the actual length of the day on the Earth. HFO stands for heavy fuel oil. According with Marpol and its ones, the definition of this class of fuel oil is the following. Crude oil having a density at 15 degrees higher than 900 kg per cubic meter. Fuel oil having either a density at 15 degrees higher than 900 kg per cubic meter or a kinetic viscosity at 50 degrees higher than 180 square millimeters per second, and bitumen, tar, and their emulsion. As described before, the basic requirement for any marine engine is to propel a ship or to generate power on board by using the energy obtained for burning of the oil. Actually, the heavy fuel oil is one of the most widely used type of fuel for commercial vessels. LNG, or liquefied natural gas. It is one of the most technological vessels of the world, built to transport liquefied natural gas from one port to another at a low temperature of minus 160 to 70 degrees. Her cargo tanks are spherical type A made of expanded polystyrene, in order to resist the force of the expansion into the tank due to the vaporization of the cargo. LOA, length overall, it is a complete longitudinal distance of the ship since the rudder post to the stern. MV, or motor vessel, it means that the ship has her own propulsion. Currently, the majority of the vessel has internal combustion engines. It consists in a chemistry process of releasing energy from a fuel and air mixture. The engine then partially converts the energy from the combustion to work. The engine consists of a fixed cylinder and a moving piston. The expanding combustion gases push the piston, which turn rotates the crankshaft automatically through the system of gears in the powertrain. This motion drives the propeller.
Being able to communicate in English is a competence that allows us to have fluid access to knowledge and technology, which in turn facilitates the development of other competencies for the individual and also allows good development in all sectors of human activities. In the merchant marine sector, the command of English plays a preponderant role and is a mandatory requirement, since the different actors involved in international transport make use of the language. This is a world that is in continuous learning and in which a multitude of people of different nationalities work, which make it necessary for communication to be within a common framework and to be a link between the different professionals linked to the maritime area. Given this need, the IMO, or International Maritime Organization, has generated guidelines, among whose standards It establishes knowledge of the English language is mandatory for professionals in maritime navigation. In addition, proficiency in English is mandatory in order to be able to perform the operations on military ships, since every procedure, instrumentation, and machinery linked to the maritime management are established in this language. Every merchant marine has to have English proficiency as well as the ability to speak fluently, and at the same time, every merchant marine has to know the technical expressions applied on maritime transport and every international logistic that this applies. Every officer of the merchant marine must have various competencies that make him an integral professional with the capacity to assume in a responsible and effective way his work. Teaching and learning the English language in nautical training institution is a fundamental part of the academic curriculum. This linguistic instruction in the marine field has objectives, content, criteria of competence, condition of use, and a specific professional interest that distinguish it due to the technicalities of the specialty. English is the language used in the maritime area with a very specific vocabulary, expressions, and functions. In this sector, communication is predominantly oral and requires the use of vocabularies regulated by the IMO, International Maritime Organization.